Happy Saturday, Risers. Hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. Sagar and I are back with some of our favorite moments from what has been an unbelievable week. Friend of the show, Dr. Adolph Reed Jr. broke down what Biden gets wrong about the black vote, and he also weighed in on the firing of Central Park Karen, Amy Cooper. Let's take a listen to that.
The real problems with Biden have less to do with his operating like my racist neighbor from close to 40 years ago, but have a lot more to do with his consistent refusal to support real national health care, all the recurrent lie that he told during the campaign about how most Americans love their employer-provided health insurance. He hasn't told that one lately. And other matters that the bulk of us are concerned about, without regard to race, creed, color, or prior condition of servitude. Those of us who have to work for a living or are expected to work for a living are concerned about stuff like, health care, education, decent secure jobs at decent wages and benefits. She strained to be politically correct and call him an African-American man, as you
right.
calling on the cops to come kill him. And
Such
if that's not a bad view of the world, I don't know what the hell is, right?
Love Adolph Reed Jr. Professor Reed always.
He had me rolling with that one.
Man. And he also had this great line, because their debate was over whether she should be fired or not. And you were kind of like, I don't know. I'm like, fired, no problem. He had the best line. He's like, look, if she was a line worker at a poultry plant, I would object. Because she's like a corporate financial, I don't really care. It's like, okay,
I co-sign.
Well said.
I co-sign that.
Well said.
Right. Former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson, she also released a list of progressive endorsements, including challengers against longtime incumbents Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, and Steve King. So we spoke with Marianne about why she thinks it's critical to unseat these establishment senators and bring fresh perspectives to Washington.
Also, I think progressives sometimes don't perhaps realize what fabulous people are running. Keita Haynes, Julie Oliver in Texas, Mike Siegel in Texas, J.D. Scholten, and he came so close last time to unseat Steve King, Nate McMurray in rural New York. When you look at someone like AOC, she's a star. She just bursts forth. Well, not everybody has that kind of magic, but they're still great candidates. And too many progressives, I think, don't know who these people are. So I made the endorsement list because when you look into these people, most congressional candidates do not win the first time out. They get their name recognition. Too many times we say, well, so-and-so can't win. That's not the point. Help them get their name out. And the people on my endorsement list, there are many of them who can win if we give them the support that they need.
You cannot understate just how hard Marianne went with this list.
I know.
On two levels. Number one, she backed Michaela Wilkes, who's challenging Steny Hoyer. She backed Shahid Buttar, who is challenging Nancy Pelosi. She backed others who are challenging Democratic incumbents. So there's that piece. But there's also a piece, it takes a lot of courage to back someone who's a long shot, frankly, and who is unlikely to win, with the belief that if I support this person who really needs it, and maybe it doesn't give them that boost to make something happen and ultimately get over the finish line, or maybe, and I've been involved with races like this before, maybe they don't get it this time, but then they run for the seat again. J.D. Scholten's a perfect example of that, who's running against Steve King. This is his second time around. He's got a shot at it this time around. Or maybe they run for a different seat. They've gotten their feet wet in the process. You've helped them build something, and that moves on to the future. Most people do not do that. The way that almost all the institutions in this town work, the way that almost all of these politicians work, is they really look and say, okay, do you have a shot? Are you like a lock for this seat? Is it safe for me to get in and associate my name with you? It's a fundamentally cowardly position.
Oh, it's totally cowardly, but it's how literally all of them
Everyone
act. Even AOC, right? Even the progressives in the Congress are like, well, I'm only going to endorse on because they don't want to muddy their name. Marianne's like, hey, I don't care. I'm going all in. And I asked her, I was like, what about the Democratic establishment? She's like, they made it very clear how they feel about it.
Yeah, she's like, they already voted me off the island.
I love that one.
In the spirit of establishment challengers, we spoke with Kentucky Senate hopeful Congressman Charles Booker, who is taking a stand against Mitch McConnell. Representative Booker explained how he plans to bridge racial and geographic divides that are certainly at a peak right now in the country. Let's take a listen to that.
What we're seeing right now is really at the heart of why my campaign and my candidacy is so critical and why so many Kentuckians are standing with us. We need system level change. And what we've seen here in Louisville with Breonna Taylor, what's happening in Minneapolis as we speak goes to the heart of the fact that for so many of us, our humanity is denied. Our voices are silenced. Justice is not accountable for us. And in many cases, if you look like me, if you come from where I come from, you're going to be seen as a deadly weapon before you're seen as a human being. And so many Kentuckians, so many Americans, so many people feel ignored, and they're fighting back, and rightfully so. And my campaign is in a testament to that, and saying that I honor your humanity, and I'm pushing for structural change. Now listen, Mitch McConnell will never talk about structural racism. Neither will a pro-Trump Democrat. But if we don't get to the heart of these real issues, we're not going to be able to end generational poverty. And that's the big deal that we're facing as a people.
I really like the way he put it, we'll honor your humanity. And that, you know, a lot of this deep anger and rage and frustration and all of the emotions we're seeing comes from this sense that humanity is denied. And it really is that simple. When you feel like society sees you as less worthy, as less than the, you know, the elites and the people who are keeping you in your place and maintaining the status quo. Disclosure, I've known Charles. I've seen his work in the community. I think he's an incredible person, and he's running a really inspiring campaign there. We also interviewed another progressive challenger in that race, Mike Breuer, who has Andrew Yang and Marianne Williamson's endorsement, who's a farmer there. The DSCC establishment pick is Amy McGrath, who calls herself a pro-Trump Democrat, has been she's very poll-tested, consultant-driven. She reads down the talking points, but she's raised millions and millions and millions online from coast to coast. So they have a steep climb ahead of them, but pretty inspiring to hear the way that he talks and the way that Mike talks as well.
It's just an interesting, really dynamic down there. I mean, we covered that governor's race because of your past experience in the state. It's a real bellwether on how the country moves. It's got, you know, it's segregated, but it's white working class. It's got kind of everything that we're interested here on the show. So we're going to watch it closely. It's going to be interesting.
Indeed, that does it for us. We'll be back later today with the week that was in media screw-ups.
All right, so make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. You don't miss any of our videos. And please don't forget to like and share as well. Tomorrow, we're going to be back with another round of #RisingQs. We'll see you guys then.